A top Russian official has claimed that Ukraine is using US missiles to destroy key targets in their cross-border incursion.
Health officials report the first case of polio in Gaza in 25 years. The UN calls for a truce to roll out vaccines.
Hundreds of far-right protesters arriving into Leipzig to disrupt a pride event were stopped by German police and counter-demonstrators before they could even leave the station. Ukraine used US missiles to destroy key bridges in the Russian Kursk region, according to Moscow officials. Maria Zakharova, spokeswoman for the Russian Foreign Ministry, said in a post on Telegram that Ukraine was likely using missiles supplied by the US. She claimed volunteers who were assisting civilians evacuate were killed after an attack completely destroyed a bridge over the same river. Officials in Washington have said the recent surprise incursion by Ukraine on Russian territory is a protective move that justifies the use of US weaponry. Across the border in Sumy, 2 people were injured when a Russian missile struck a residential and shopping area. Ukrainian authorities say the strike destroyed cars and damaged a shopping mall and nearby residences, with firefighters being called to the scene. Ukrainian President Zelensky has warned that towns in the Donetsk region are still facing intense Russian assaults despite the incursion in Kursk. A fire broke out at Somerset House, a large neoclassical building in central London used as an arts venue. Smoke billowed from the building and flames could be seen coming from the roof as firefighters fought the blaze. The London Fire Brigade said the cause of the fire was not yet known. Somerset House was due to host a day of breakdancing, but closed due to the fire.
Palestinian health officials have reported the first case of polio in Gaza in an unvaccinated 10-month-old child in the city of Deir al-Balah. After discovering the child's symptoms, tests were conducted in Jordan's capital Amman and the case was confirmed to be polio. It's the first case of the disease in at least 25 years in the coastal enclave, which has seen health and sanitation facilities devastated by the Israel-Hamas war. On Friday, UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres called for 7-day pauses in fighting to allow agencies to roll out a vaccination campaign across the Strip. 2 rounds of polio vaccinations are expected to be launched at the end of August and September across Gaza in a bid to prevent the spread of the disease. Over 1.6 million vaccine doses will be delivered to Gaza and vaccinations will be administered by 708 teams across the Strip.
A huge mudslide in Austria has mobilized 350 helpers from fire brigades and aid organizations to help clear roads and clean up cellars. The valley and village of St. Anton am Arlberg was hit hard by a thunderstorm on Friday night. The slide covered cars and buildings, bursted banks and damaged the central street of Arlberg, causing it to close. No injuries have been reported, and helicopter flights with geologists will check if there are any further damages.
A far-right protest against the Pride Parade was stopped before it could even begin in Germany. Far-right counter-demonstrators and neo-Nazis arrived in Leipzig with plans to disrupt a Pride event which was part of Christopher Street Day. However, when the several hundred protesters arrived at Leipzig Central Station, they were stopped immediately inside by German police. The police reported that the protesters were suspected of using unconstitutional symbols. Meanwhile, several hundred counter-protesters assembled inside and outside the station to show their solidarity with those marching as part of Christopher Street Day. The event ultimately kicked off with increased security measures and a large police presence.